It's about that time again.
So, where will you go for aid now?
New Dragon Ball content coming up next.
You are entirely powerless before divine justice!
To hell with your justice! You don't deserve it!
It's just another day of saving the universe.
Go to hell!
Today's video may contain light spoilers. We ask that you do proceed with caution. Welcome to Incredibat Gaming Anime. I am your host, IBJesus, and today we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super Episode 122 and Episode 123 and what to expect out of the possible Vegeta versus Jiren topic. But first, let me quickly state that Yuya Takahashi will be returning to the helm this episode as an animation supervisor. If you don't know who he is, he supervised episode 114, so I strongly suggest seeking that episode out to truly appreciate his work. He brought a familiar style we saw back in the Buu arc of Dragon Ball Z, and it simply adds so much nostalgia and depth to the character designs that it really did just spoil the hell out of us, and it was really neat seeing some of the transformations such as Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue as well. So it was really neat to see. It's also worth noting that episode 114 was the birth of K-Flip, a pretty big moment in the tournament, and he also worked on several scenes in the Ultra Instinct episodes, so it would definitely appear that Yuya Takahashi is being carefully utilized for big moments, and for episode 122, he's back again. So let's kind of get into what to expect. So now as far as the titles for 122 and 123 go, 122 definitely is pretty straightforward. The title here is Staking His Pride, Vegeta Challenges the Strongest. We obviously have been conditioned to believe that Jiren is the strongest in this tournament. This has been done through numerous confirmations from the challengers and the gods themselves, as well as the angels. So I don't think there's anyone else, really, that he could be challenging other than Jiren. So I don't think we'll be seeing anything less than a Jiren versus Vegeta fight, and the fact that Yuya Takahashi is back leads me to believe this is going to be something big. Now let's talk about just a little bit about Vegeta in Super. He has been utilized much better than he ever was in the past, like with Dragon Ball Z or the movies or anything like that. He actually has big moments to shine, such as in the Goku Black arc, where he received a power bump and just dominated the living hell out of Goku Black, who was the strongest of the two separate Zamasus at the time. We also saw him do a pretty decent amount of damage in the Universe 6 arc as well, but one of the things a lot of people point to is that Vegeta is hiding some sort of reserve of power. He was not taken by surprise from Goku reaching Ultra Instinct, nor was he seen to be all too concerned with Jiren's power, even stepping up to challenge him after seeing his power, just to see how he could stack up. Which led many to believe that maybe he had already unlocked a new form, a transformation, or found a way to use Ultra Instinct on his own. But we know now that Ultra Instinct is definitely not the case, and a new transformation is very unlikely. In the past, Vegeta avoided fights he knew he could not win, allowing others to kind of take on the stronger opponents. So when fighting hit, Vegeta never got the chance to observe him and therefore couldn't gauge his power. We don't know how he could have reacted if he was able to see Hit fight prior to his turn in the tournament. But we do see in the Goku Black arc that even though Black was able to tap into Super Saiyan God form, essentially, he wasn't really intimidated, and he's able to sense that energy. So this breaks away from the Vegeta that we definitely knew in Z for the majority of that series up until the Buu arc, where he knew he was outclassed but still went head-on with Buhan and Kid Buu. But prior to that, he always kind of, I guess, cower away from fights that he knew he couldn't win. A lot of the time he'd just be, stricken with fear and would freeze up and stuff like that. So but moving ahead, we have episode 123, which is titled Full Body, Full Spirit, Full Power Released, which many believe Vegeta gets Ultra Instinct, which I honestly hope is true, but let's look at what else it could mean. It could mean that Jiren has been pushed to releasing his full power, as I honestly don't believe we've seen Jiren's max power just yet. It could mean that Vegeta is explosively releasing his power to try and push Jiren off the edge, which I find unlikely, but the way Super goes sometimes, dumb ideas come to fruition, honestly, and I wouldn't put it past him. I want to believe that Vegeta is going to get the limelight, that he's going to get something that he deserves as a character, but I also would not put it past Toei to totally shit on that idea. But the biggest clues that I look at is the full body and full spirit portion of the title. Whis has mentioned that Ultra Instinct is the body moving essentially on its own, which could fall into the full body portion of the title, obviously, and then the full spirit could fall right into that as well. Vegeta has always been criticized with thinking too much in a battle, and if he's allowed his spirit and body just to take over, this could be his attempt to release Ultra Instinct. Now, spirit could mean totally different things. It could mean his pride, his spirit, that he's ramped up, that he's motivated. Or it could just mean that his essence, his power as an essence just takes over and his body just moves on its own. So eliminating the mental frustration of a fight and just putting his spirit and allowing it to, take control and move however you want. As you know, Ultra Instinct has been deemed more of a possession. There's definitely some people believing that whenever someone goes Ultra Instinct, they're possessed. There's been a ton of different theories about that, but I will grant it that in this form, it's definitely something different that we've seen in the past. There is this I guess, aesthetic that they are possessed just because their mannerism and behavior, which could fall into their spirit. So it's really yet to be seen, but I honestly think this title, if it's catered towards Vegeta, it could really mean that he's unlocking something. I don't want to sit here and say it is Ultra Instinct because I've been hurt in the past, but it's definitely worth speculating for. And I really cannot wait to see what comes of this. I honestly believe that if he is going to reach this form, the beginning of him unlocking Ultra Instinct is going to take place in 122, towards the end. And the reason why I say that is because Yuya Takahashi, once again, will be animation supervisor for that episode. So it just makes sense, since Yuya has been part of a lot of the bigger things, such as Goku going Ultra Instinct and Kefla coming into the mix, that he would be part of Vegeta going Ultra Instinct as well. I just think that his episodes get such a high regard for, the art style mainly. The animation is pretty standard as far. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not like amazing. It's mainly the art that takes up what people like about it, because it has that nostalgia feel. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan and you watched it up until the end of the Buu arc, then you definitely understand, and especially like the later movies as well. You definitely understand what that nostalgia comes from. But let's talk more about the spirit aspect. The reason why I'm saying that maybe the spirit overlaps or overshadows the mental sides, because, like, again, Vegeta has been criticized for thinking too much in a fight. So when Vegeta was trying to mimic Ultra Instinct, he was actually thinking about it. He mentally monologued what he needed to do to mimic Goku's reactions. And he failed because his mind essentially was still on the actions that he needed to take. He was still thinking about, I need to just react. That's not going to help, because essentially Goku's Ultra Instinct was pushed out of him, or he was able to tap into it because he was in desperation. But I do truly hope that Vegeta gets a true awakening moment in this arc. Overall, I feel that this tournament has been lackluster in really big moments. We've definitely had a few, but none had a lasting effect to me personally. I would really like them to show us a new transformation. Obviously, they have Ultra Instinct for Vegeta and Goku, though, because we were introduced to Super Saiyan Blue in the Frieza arc. Essentially, the Resurrection of F, but in Super is the Resurrection F arc. And it was already something that they've been training for and they were able to master. If you remember back in Dragon Ball Z, we saw the very beginning of what Super Saiyan does, and we saw what it took for each fighter to essentially master it, as well as to find ways to exceed that power. Super Saiyan Blue, we're just kind of like, oh, they know it, and this is what it is, right? So we haven't seen any growth with that transformation or anything in the like. So I hope that we can see that difference with Ultra Instinct. We've obviously seen Goku is able to tap into it, it seems, at will, maybe. We're not really sure. We saw him do it in desperation against Jiren, and then we saw him do it pretty much at will against Kefla. So maybe he, as everyone knows, Goku's a martial arts genius, and once he unleashes the power to go, Super Saiyan, Ultra Instinct, whatever, he's able to do it much easier the second time, and so on and so forth. And Vegeta as well has shown to be able to do very similar things with that. So I really want to see a growth, right? I really want to see in the coming arcs that maybe they don't master it in this tournament. It does give them a huge boost in power, but if they're able to master it, much like Super Saiyan, they can utilize it and make it more efficient, and therefore it being much more powerful in the long run. And we actually see that that they can train this form and really put themselves at a new tier in power. So that's something I really want to see. I hope that we are going to see Vegeta get something that he well deserves as a character as a whole. Some underutilized characters in this arc have been Vegeta. Vegeta is essentially the MVP for eliminations, but he's been underutilized. There's not enough there's not enough Vegeta. It's too much Goku, right? It's one of those things. And then Gohan, another underutilized character, and then Piccolo, his character has just been ruined. His power scaling is so off, it's unreal. But yep. That is pretty much all I have for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed me kind of going off a little bit here. I hope that you guys are excited for Dragon Ball Super 122 and 123. Unfortunately, we have to wait until after the new year to get those. But I think I think personally that it's going to be well worth it. And then I hope that we do get to see something new and different. I hope this doesn't end with Vegeta being eliminated. That'd be really disappointing, but it's always possible. But yeah, so if you guys have any points of this topic, please leave them down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.